Hello guys, welcome back to another episode of our career series. As you might have known, we ended off completing our shunting jobs, and we ended off the day with $17,610. So my intentions for today's episode is to take a job from the steel mill over to the harbor, because if we do that, then we should be able to get some pretty decent jobs of shunting there. We're probably going to take one of these smaller steel rail jobs just because they're not too difficult. We don't really have many better options anyways, so I'll take a look here. So it does look like those two jobs are probably going to be the best ones to take. Now I can only take one of them, and I'd rather take the one that's over here, which is this one here, I believe. 63. So we want to take FH63 out. By the time we get over to the harbor, we should be able to afford the S060 license. So we want this one. This is the one in question. Do we have any copay? No, we don't. Okay. So let's start the locomotive up, and we're gonna get this thing in position and ready. So I appreciate some of your guys' support on the last video. I got some good recommendations from you guys, so I will try to apply some of that stuff to the series. So in this career, I'm guessing that I'm most likely going to take out steam locomotives, just because in my opinion, they're the most reliable and most engaging. I feel like that would be pretty much where the best content is. So currently my idea is for shunting jobs, I'll cut out a lot of the back and forth kind of mundane stuff like that, but for these long hauls that require going along the whole length of the track, I'm not going to cut anything from that, really, unless it's like a point where I derail and I have to like connect everything up. Then I'll probably cut that a little bit, but I don't usually derail. I don't want to jinx anything, but I don't think that's going to be much of a problem. Anyways, I hope you guys are doing good today. Hopefully you're having a nice Monday, depending on where you are, what time you're watching this at. Go into that track right there. I don't brake as soon as I should. It's also raining, so that's not helping at all. I did see a comment on the previous career, which was saying how the D2 is not underpowered, and while that is true, what I really meant to say is it's underpowered in the sense that it overheats way too easily, which, it's to be expected. It's a small locomotive, it has its limits, so I do understand that part. So, but if you do know how to use it, then you should be able to haul at least 350 tons if you're being careful about it. And currently we have a tie for which locomotive is to be featured on a tutorial next. So if you guys don't mind, go over to my community tab on my YouTube channel, and you should be able to vote there if you want to vote for the next video. Because currently there's a tie between the DE6 and the DH4 on which one actually gets showcased next, so if you guys who are watching don't mind, you can go vote on there, and then you can get a definitive answer on which one will be done first. But anyways, let's go redeem this job and we can get on our way and earn a little bit more money. Alright, so let's just throw this thing in here. That's 63, so that's the right one. So B40 is where we couple it up. That's the right one. We haul it to E8I. Alright, let's get going then. I want to eventually get over to Machine Factory in town so I can get the EOT lantern. but that's something that's probably going to be for a little bit of a future thing. Did I disengage the handbrakes? I think I did. I can't remember. Yep, I did. Alright, we're good to go. Let's get this show on the road. I also have some other games I would play on this channel. I have American Truck Simulator. If you guys are interested in that, just let me know in the comments, because I could play some of that. They have been releasing a lot of DLCs on it. They recently released the Oklahoma DLC. But I want to get your guys' input and see if you guys would be interested in watching that too. Now we're getting on down the rails. We're going to the harbor in town. Getting $6,016, I believe it was. Yeah. So we'll have a pretty decent paycheck if we get it on time, which we should. This hill shouldn't be much of a problem for this locomotive, especially with only 3 cars. I want to pump the throttle, but not all at once, which is kind of the main strategy when it comes to the DE2. But we should be able to go max throttle now, no problems. It'll overheat briefly, but once we actually start getting past the amperage meter, once it goes out of the yellow, then it should start cooling down. But we're gonna have to throttle down anyways as we go up the grade, but we shouldn't slow down too fast, I don't think. But yeah, if you guys want to let me know what you're thinking of this series so far, and I also want to get your guys' input on the external view and the driving UI. Just let me know if you guys think that's feeling a little bit too cheaty, or if you guys prefer the internal view. Personally, I prefer the internal view, but I want to know what your guys' thoughts are on that. So as you can see, the temperature on that has went down. We're doing pretty good going up this hill. We might not even have the throttle down even. Yeah, we're heading 60 kilometers an hour so far. We're gonna throttle down because we don't want to go past 60 at this switch ahead of us. We'll actually have to switch it because I don't think we went past this point before. I sometimes feel like the DE2 is a lot more balanced than the DE6 is. And the DE6 overheats so much easier than the DE2 in comparison to the weight that it respectively hauls. Like, when you're hauling the limit on the DE2, it doesn't overheat too bad, but when you're hauling the limit on the DE6, it's just absolutely terrible. Let's actually get the rear lights on, because why not? So since our copay is only $100, I'm not even going to worry about fuel consumption. I'm just going to pump it for maximum speed the whole way, pretty much. I might slow it down a little bit. I'll cut the throttle. I know that you can go like 70 on this switch up here with no problems. So we should be able to just maintain our speed through this switch here. Even though the switch itself technically is a 60. But you can do that, so. Alright. Let's just pump it and get on down the rails here. Depending on how long the video is, I might actually do a shunting job, possibly. Zone. The only thing with this locomotive is that the max speed is pretty much 70 unless you're going down a hill. Other than that, it's pretty good. Yeah, when I was editing yesterday's, or I guess it's technically 2 days ago, that first episode of the career series, and I missed that one flatbed. I don't know how I missed that. It was like right in front of me. So as you can see, our fuel consumption is not too terrible. But you guys also have to remember that our fuel consumption, well, our resource consumption in general is 75% less, but it costs 75% or 25% more than usual. So, or sorry, no, it's 25% less, not 75. What I meant to say was it's 75% of the normal, not 75% less. That would be kind of overpowered, but. So we'll cut the throttle just because I don't really care. We'll keep it on like a measly 40% throttle or so. We don't need to be pumping it the whole way. I do like the traction motor sounds on the DE2. It just, I wish that the DE6 had more of that stereotypical traction motor sound that GE, General Electric locomotives usually have. Because most General Electric locomotives have a very distinct humming sound to their traction motors, and I love that sound. And it's kind of what the DE2 has. When you pump it, you can hear that humming sound. I kind of wish the DE6 had that. It's kind of disappointing to me that it doesn't really have that, but you know, it's whatever. I'm sure there'll be mods in the future for that stuff, so. You never know, they might revise some aspects of the game in the future. They might add that, for all I know. We're just gonna cut the throttle. We're gonna slow down to 60. I'm gonna avoid using my train brake because it's such a light train, you don't really need to use it. Unless you're going downhill, of course. In that case, you probably should use it. Cool. So we're lined in. We'll put on high beams, because why not? Just get that little bit of extra visibility. Now, I was actually thinking, guys, about a new video idea where I go into each type of locomotive. So, for example, the DE2 and DE6 would be kind of featured in one video, where I go into the in-depths on how they work, like the full thing. Like I explain how each component works and how it plays into another. I was thinking of doing some videos like that, and I wanted to get your guys' input on that. See if that would be a good idea. So if I get support on that and you guys want to see that, then I can definitely do that. Because the tutorials that I currently post for the locomotives, they do go into the very basics of it, but not really the in-depths per se. So I kind of want to get your guys' input on that. And if I get a few comments saying that they want to see that, then I might do some videos on that. I'll probably likely do the DM3 or the diesel electrics first. But if I were to do the diesel electrics, I would probably say ways on how they could improve it in the game, because the diesel electric simulation is not perfect in the game. I'm gonna admit that real quick. I think the DE2's diesel electric simulation is perfectly fine, because you don't got traction motor blowers on this thing, so it's understandable that it overheats. But the DE6 overheats way too quickly at low amps. The DE6's traction motor should only really start overheating once you pass like 650 amps, in my opinion. Because you can't even get into the yellow zone of the dial without your traction motors overheating, which is a kind of a weird design. For the DE6 at least. And I also think that you should be able to sustain 20km/h speeds in the DE6. Because usually it's like 35 km/h, give or take. 40 maybe. Where it'll start overheating if you're not at those speeds or higher. So I feel like it should be able to... Oh shit. Maybe I should slow down a little bit. That was real spicy. I'm too lost in thought, I almost derailed there. And I said I don't derail. Maybe I should pay attention a little bit more. But anyways, just let me know what you guys think about that kind of video idea, because I definitely am willing to do videos like that if you guys want. Got a 60 zone, but it does go down to 40, so I'm just going to preemptively slow down here. Our D2's brakes are overheating. You can kind of hear that little whizzing sound. So I do have to give a fair warning that in the harbor, my FPS is not perfect. It does drop down to around 45 to 50. So if you notice some lower frames in the harbor, it's just because the way Derail Valley works. I'm not sure if it's a VRAM issue, because I did see a post on the Steam forums of Derail Valley, and apparently there might be some like physics issues that are unoptimized or something, because once he pauses the game, once nothing's moving and no physics calculations are being done, he gets substantially better FPS. He gets 60 plus, but then once he starts getting stuff going again, then it drops down to, I believe it was like 40 FPS or less. So that kind of makes me think that the game might be a little bit unoptimized, at least in the physics section of the game. So I guess we'll have to see how that all plays out and if they can do optimizations in the future. You can hear a very faint humming sound from the brakes that are kind of overheating. I think it's only on the DE2 because I don't really see any redness on the wheel brakes, the brake pads on the rail cars, so that's probably where it's from, is the DE2. Because I was using heavy independent brake earlier, so that would make sense. So we're striving for E8I, that's going to be on the right, if my memory serves me correct, which I think it is. And then we should be able to do some shunting jobs. Now, I just want to give you guys a fair warning. I got a Twitch, and if I do want to stream on said Twitch, I'll probably do, if I do Derail Valley, I'm probably going to play on this save. So if any progress gets made that you don't see on the YouTube channel, that stuff will be done on the Twitch. Now, I'm not sure when I'm going to stream it on Twitch, but, you know, if there's progress that you haven't seen on video, then it's probably made on the Twitch channel. So we're coming to the harbor. Let's see, does it have an S060 in there, though? It does. Okay, that's actually good news for us. So if we want, we could actually take another long haul out of the harbor today. Now, I think I'm gonna do that just because I kind of want to like show off the S060. I know I probably should do a guide on it beforehand, but if I'm gonna do a guide, it's gonna be on a separate video. So, because this career series is kind of just on its own little thing, rather than needing a tutorial on it before I actually do it on the career series. So we're at 30 kilometers an hour. That should be easily enough for an approach speed. In fact, we can actually even go faster than that. So we're gonna switch that one over there, because I think that's the one we need to go into. Looks like it is. Yeah, alright. So we should be good. Now the only thing I'm concerned is, are we gonna have an actual good job to take out of here? Because I don't want to take some like $2,000 job out of here with the S060. Even though my copay will be the same, I just kind of want to... I just really want to get a decent job out of here, so I guess we'll have to see. Alright, so let's chuck this order in here. Cool. $9,024, that's pretty good. There, copay here. Alright. So, as you saw, I wouldn't have made that much money if I didn't have my copay super low. Obviously, I could have manually serviced it, but then I would have to have the manual service license, which costs $20,000, so it's best to save up your money first. So we can't do any of these jobs, so we'll just chuck these. Actually, we'll put that one back. Chuck. All of the ones that we can't do, we'll just chuck them. We could do that one, but that's way out of the limit of the S060. This one needs long one. I see a few options here. We could get the S060, which is option 1, or we could get train length 1 and concurrent orders 1. Those are the two options I think we have. Now, I'm inclined to say the S060 just because we'll be able to haul more, and I'm not sure if about faster, but it is very cheap to run those, so even when we do, yeah, we're gonna get that. Because the S060, when you have manual service, is such a cheap locomotive to run. Like, you'll only have to pay, like, maybe like $2,000 per trip, and like, that's a long trip as well. We could do, actually, I might do a shunting job with the S060 today. I might do that instead, just to get, because it is a shunting locomotive technically, so I mean, it'd kind of be fitting. That one's on the list. That one actually might be good, because that'll pay a decent amount. That one's out of our reach, so is that one, right? That is, yeah, it requires hazmat. And that one's out of the reach. So we got 4 options here. So we could take that. I mean, it looks like this one that we just brought in is going to be the best decision. Oh yeah, and we can't do this one either. So yeah, we got 3 options. Yeah, I'm just going to do this one, because it pays the most, and we'll be able to get long one after this, I think. So we have 6,000. Yeah, we'll be able to get long one. That's probably going to be the play to do. The only thing I'm kind of concerned about is the copay, but with long one, that only increases the copay by, I believe, $1,900. So even if I have to pay the copay, I'm only paying $2,000 per, which is pretty much the general amount that you have to pay anyways. So, but first, before I even start the locomotive, because I can't start it yet because I don't have the equipment I need to go to the shop and buy a shovel, a lighter. I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. That's a mistake I sometimes make. Sometimes I will be like, sometimes I will buy a license for a steamer, like early game, and then I'll forget to go to the shop, and then I'll find the steamer I want to work with, but then I don't have the equipment I need, and then 9 times out of 10 I'll be at a town that doesn't have a shop, so I'll have to despawn the locomotive if I want to, so it's best to get this stuff beforehand now. Lantern, kind of want to get it just so I have something to light up surroundings with. I think we'll make this call afterwards, because we're not really operating in a dark yard. This is a well-lit yard, so I hopefully won't need that. So we'll worry about that after we complete the steel rail job. Alright, let's get into this locomotive. our little steamer here, the 76. Alright, let's jump into this little thing. I do like this little steamer. They did a good job on it. Alright, so let's actually just first turn on the dynamo. Turn the brakes back on. So dynamo... Shoot, I think it was this one up here somewhere. Yeah, dynamo, right there. Let's fill this firebox up, and actually, let me just reorder some of my stuff here. So we want that there. There we go. We'll just lock these ones in here. So those ones will be locked, just so that they don't move around. Cool. My muscle memory does not like this. Hold on. That's the setup I usually do anyway, so. The golden shovel will also be a pretty good shovel to have, because whilst it is really expensive, it holds a lot of coal. So that's definitely a shovel worth getting in the future. Right, let's put on this compressor here. Put this turntable on our track. Okay, cool. Headlights work. The only gripe I have with headlights is that the ditch lights get turned on first. Like, that's not how it would be. Usually you'd have your headlight on first, and then on your high beams, or technically you'd have them separated on different switches, but technically you'd have your ditch lights on last. That's the only kind of gripe I have with it. Other than that, it's a good locomotive. Alright, so now we're pretty much ready to move. We may as well turn on the lubricator, so we don't have unnecessary damage to the locomotive. Put the reverser in forward. Now, a lot of people say this is a Johnson bar, but I am most certainly positive, I'm like 99% positive that that is just railway slang made up by the Railroads Online community. I've never seen a real-life example of this being called the Johnson bar. So unless somebody has actual proof of blueprints of a locomotive showing that this is labeled as a Johnson bar on the blueprints, or some other kind of evidence, it's just a reverser. So I've never seen any example of that actually be called a Johnson bar. So I tend to avoid calling it that, because it's, in my mind, it's not a Johnson bar, it's a reverser. Alright, so we got the cylinder cocks open, and we're fully in the corner. Let's get going here. Don't forget to turn that off. Let's get ourselves onto this turntable. Hope you guys are enjoying the video so far. If you are, make sure to drop a like and think about sharing it with your friends, because that does help me out a lot. Alright. Let's get ourselves lined up for that job of steel rails. Now I already know where I need to bring it to unload it, so we'll only really have to redeem the job once we're already on the track for unloading. So the main issue will be actually getting them all into their respective sidings for the unloading process, but that's not going to be that big of a deal. Reverse these lights here. as well, high beams. Now, one thing you do have to watch out with this locomotive is the water will go down really quickly if you don't pay attention, and that can lead to a boiler explosion real quick. And I learned that the hard way, trust me. The first day it came out, I was on my realistic save. I looked everywhere to find one of these. It took me like 30 minutes. Once I actually found one, I fired it up, took a job, and I started going, and I was at the farm, right? I had a 615-ton job, which is overachieving with that locomotive, but I didn't know that at the time. But anyways, I did that, and lo and behold, I didn't even get to the steel mill, and my train blew up. It was, I kind of wish I was recording it, because it actually was kind of funny. In the moment, I was pissed, but in hindsight, it was hilarious. But it blows up so easily, it's not even funny, guys. You really gotta watch out with that kind of thing, with this locomotive. Now, once you're... When you're shunting, it's not that big of a deal, but once you're actually going onto the main part of the tracks, then it kind of becomes a concern. We're gonna just coast a little bit until we get closer. Slow down to 10. You hear that little splashy sound? That splashy sound is a signifying thing that your steam chest has water in it, so you need to put on your cylinder cocks when that happens. Otherwise, you'll blow a cylinder, most likely. Coming real slow. The real railroad would bang these things up, but I guess we're not the real railroad. Okay, there we go. Let's detach this guy here. We're good to go. Disengage the brakes from that. Reversers in the corner. Water level is not too bad, but it should be refilled. Tank can be closed. As you can see, we have pretty much maximum steam pressure. And that's one thing you gotta worry about when you're taking this locomotive up a hill with pretty much just max ratings. You gotta make sure that pressure doesn't go down, because the pressure is even worse than the S282. You'll lose pressure so easily in this locomotive. That's something you really gotta look out for. A lot of times you'll be below, like, you'll be like near the 6 marker, and that's really bad. You need as much pressure as you can with this little locomotive. But if you can master it, then you're golden. Let me know if you guys like the daytime Derail Valley better than the nighttime. In my opinion, I like the nighttime. It's very atmospheric. I think it has some very good moments. The daytimes do have... The daytime Derail Valley stuff has their highs as well, so... Alright, let's put the reverser in the fully reverse position. They really did a good job with steam simulation, though, in this game. I really like the way they took it. They act like real locomotives essentially, which is kind of what I wanted all along. Because, you know, pre-simulator, I never really took out the steam locomotives very much. I kind of felt they were kind of bland and uninteresting, but after simulator, I think they are objectively the most appealing locomotive to me, personally, in this game. Like, their simulation is second to none. Like, I don't think there's any other simulator that really comes close to this kind of quality of steam simulation. Like, I can't think of anything. I think this is literally the best steam simulation in the game ever. If any of you guys have a different opinion, you know of a game that I don't know of, then please let me know, because I would actually like to check that out too. I just hope that they add a few more of these steam locomotives in the future. Maybe they could even add a 10-wheeler, maybe. I'd really like to see a 10-wheeler in this game. That'd be very interesting. Imagine it has like a load rating of like 1,200 tons up from the coal mine or something. I would really like to see that. That'd be like awesome. Let's stop this locomotive now. Let's fill this coal up, because that's obviously getting pretty low. Water's looking good here. Get that into the corner there. Let's go redeem this job now. Alright, let's put this in here. AI, unload D7L, G7S, G1S, G2S. Okay, so the whole lot is going to the G yard, which is actually quite ideal. I like when they have drops that are all within the same yard. I like when that happens. Alright, so I believe that's, yeah, over there is where the little thing is. Now, it would be cool if they added, like, a feature to unload remotely from either, like, the locomotive remote or from the driving UI. That would be kind of cool. I don't know why, like, why does it act like that? That handle works very weirdly in non-VR. Like, it usually goes the opposite way that you go until you, like, click again. It's quite odd. Alright, so put the cylinder cocks on, because that's likely going to need some steam to go through those, because it's been sitting for like a minute. Oh, don't apply brake. There we go. Let's get going. This is a very light train now. For a second, I thought we didn't have no door. It was just opened. Now we're gonna have to figure out which one needs to go first. We're gonna start at the back and then work our way up, obviously. So for all I know, it could be reversed. It could be that one on the first page and then that one on the second page and third page, or maybe third page for second page and first page, for all I know. So we'll have to keep that in mind. Alright. What's going on in the opposite direction here? Now, let's go see what we need to do here. So this is 842. Okay, looks like it is within the order that we need. 749, G7S is first, G1S is second, and then G2S is last. Okay, let's go sort this out here real quick. So, G7S, that's going to be on the right. G7S, then G... is it G6S? Or G1S, okay. So the second one is G1S. And then the next is 2S, right? Yep, okay. So we got that all sorted out. We actually might be able to kick the cars, probably. I think I might try that. That would be quite interesting. I would just... I'm not very good at kicking. I'd have to, like, practice it. I think I might actually do that on my own time. Because I most likely would fail if I tried to do that. Let me know what you guys think about kicking cars, because I am very much not experienced in that. Alright. I might kick this first car just, you know, just because. Let's do the first car, because why not? Right, so that one should be going to G7S. Then we should be able to switch that over to there. And the physics of that's kind of weird since the update. And that other rail car should slow down so it doesn't damage anything, but even if it does, you know, our copay is really low, so it doesn't really matter anyways. G1S is the one that we want first. So we need to go on that one now. So I guess we did start kicking them anyways. Well, I don't think that's fully done, is it? It is. Okay, never mind. So I don't really know how much time we saved with that, but maybe it was a pretty decent amount. It wasn't that difficult anyways. Alright, should be able to slow our train down here now. Apply the handbrake on this. And then one on this one too. So that worked out pretty good. Now we should be able to go put this job in the validator. And that'll be pretty much it for this episode. I think the next episode will probably consist of hauling something out of here. I think I'm going to get at least the Long 2 license today. Let's validate that. $10,000. Pretty good. Only $100 copay. Alright, so 16 grand. That's enough to get the long one, or train length one. That is 1,900, so I'll have to pay $2,000 per, but I think I am willing to do that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna buy that, and I'm gonna end the video here. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to drop a like or a subscription if you followed, or if you liked it, sorry. And I'll be back probably in a day or two for the third episode. And be sure to go vote for which locomotive you wish to see next on the tutorials. I would like to see you guys' input on that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye.